More than 50 U.S. mayors are in Washington this week to discuss efforts to combat homelessness at the federal level. Joining us now, Democratic Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles. She's the chair of the U.S. Conference of Mayors Task Force on Homelessness, and Republican Mayor David Holt of Oklahoma City.
So, Mayor Bass, let me begin with you. Thank you all both so much for being with us. You know, over the past few years, I've spoken with mayors of major cities, mainly across the Northeast, but some on the West Coast, and ask, why can't you take care of the homelessness problem? Why does it keep spreading? And they always would allude to these lower court rulings that didn't give them the authority to take care of the homeless crisis in their own towns. It looks like the Supreme Court is going to give that power back to the mayors, back to local officials, to have a holistic approach, the way that works best in their own communities. Is that good news for you?
Well, I don't think that it's helpful, frankly. It's not just a matter of what tools you need to move people off the street. It's about getting people housed. And so my concern about what the Supreme Court can do is that it could essentially usher in a wave of people being ticketed like they were in the city, $200, $300 tickets for being on the street. What does that solve? We need to get people housed off the street into housing. And one thing that we've certainly been able to do in LA is to see people are not refusing to be housed. They don't want to be on the street. And so I think giving cities the power to arrest people or to ticket people does not solve the problem.
Well, it doesn't solve the problem, Mayor Holt, but is it at least a good first step for you to be able to have more control of your situation?
Well, as a general rule, of course, mayors want local control, but as Mayor Bass said, I mean, you are not going to arrest or incarcerate or ticket your way out of a homelessness issue. And that's one of the toughest things to accept when you deal with this very intractable problem is you've got to bring wraparound services. People have come into homelessness 1,000 different ways. You kind of have to have 1,000 different options to get them out of it. So I would say it's a lot more complicated than that because, you know, it's easy to clear an encampment and move people on, but if you're not getting them into housing and then getting them the support, you know, the job training, the substance abuse, the mental health services that they need, they're not going to stay off the street.
Mayor Bass, Los Angeles has had a long-running problem with homelessness and people on the street at Skid Row and elsewhere, so this certainly didn't start with your administration, but you're in the hot seat now. What sort of measurable progress have you made, can you make in the foreseeable future to get people off the street and to get them housed?
Well, first of all, we absolutely have to have a comprehensive solution because we can get people off the street and then more come on the street. But we have to develop a system of long-term interim housing while we are building, and we're doing exactly that. So I've signed executive directives that fast-track building. You know, Los Angeles over the years has become extremely expensive to live in, so we have to address the supply of housing. We have to have a place for people to go while housing is being built and the wraparound services that Mayor Holt talked about. If we do not address this in a comprehensive manner, we're not going to succeed. And just to be clear, in Los Angeles, we're talking about in the city, we're talking about 46,000 people who are unhoused. And so we can make a measurable difference, but we have to operate from several different perspectives. And that's why we're here in D.C. right now. We're trying to address a problem with veterans being unhoused. Veterans should not have to choose between their benefits and housing. So that's the specific issue that over 40 mayors are here addressing on the Hill today.
Mayor Holt, good morning. As you know, and you mentioned, so much of this gets back to mental health and mental illness of people on the streets and circumstances that have brought him there. So how do you get better than we are now at the root cause of homelessness, or at least one of the most prominent?
Right, and I should give a lot of credit to the organization that Mayor Bass and I are a part of, because that's a high point of emphasis this year, in addition to homelessness, is mental health. I mean, we just have to invest in it at every level. You know, what caused a lot of what we see today, it's not the only cause, but, you know, 50, 60 years ago, this country made a decision for all the right reasons to kind of close the institutions. The problem was that really wasn't replaced with anything. And so today, the streets and our jails and prisons have really replaced what was once the mental health institutions of this country. Local level, state level, federal level, everybody's got to make new investments in this issue. And you're right. I mean, it's not the only thing. There's, like I said, there's 1,000 different ways that people enter homelessness, but mental health is obviously a major contributor. And we as a society just have not invested in that enough. We have to do more.
Appreciate both of your focus on this issue. Mayor Bass, before we let you go, I want to ask you about the scenes we're seeing, and we were just discussing at the top of our show at both UCLA and USC, these campus protests over the war in Gaza. How do you think the schools have handled them?
Well, I think the schools have both schools have handled them the best that they can. But I will tell you that right now, both USC and UCLA are peaceful. I know that the administration is talking to the protesters and trying to come to a peaceful resolution. So I feel good that we will get there.
All right, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass and Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt, thank you both very much for coming on this morning.